Hi folks, John Dunn here, RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm up here today at Immortals with Mikey.
What is up, John? We are here, we are present, and for what?
We're going to talk about a brand new campaign that just dropped in print for Starfinder.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute since we talked Starfinder. I think we talked about Starfinder Enhanced sometime in the fall.
Yeah.
This is a new adventure path for Starfinder First Edition. It runs characters through from 1st through 15th level. And this one, it's got some stuff about it that makes it kind of close to my heart, because this started out as an organized play campaign. So when Starfinder first came out, they have their organized play group, the Starfinder Society. That is very much like the Adventures League that, if you listen closely, you may hear people playing in the background up here at the store right now.
Losing limbs in combat.
Absolutely.
Whatever it may be.
We don't currently have Starfinder Society running up at Immortals, but if you're a game master that's interested in that, drop us a line, because I'm betting Carlos would love to have you come in and run it.
For sure.
We definitely have players who've asked about that and about Pathfinder as well. Both of those Paizo games do have organized play campaigns available. Now, this one, Scoured Stars, is interesting because it was part of the first season of the Starfinder organized play campaign that released at the same time that the game did. So there's about a dozen adventures in here that make up this campaign. They'll run your characters from 1st through 15th level. And they're edited by Thurston Hillman, who is currently the lead and the Starfinder managing creative director. Quite a title, really.
Yeah, that is kind of a title.
And he was the guy that kind of put this compilation together. I think he was probably the person who oversaw them. I believe he wrote at least one of the adventures. There's a whole bunch of people who wrote these adventures. And I got to tell you, I got my first start in writing for tabletop role-playing games by writing adventures for organized play campaigns like this.
Okay.
So that's kind of the fact that you get to see something that was written like that for convention and store play coming out in print like this. I'm really happy to see that.
That is really cool that
Now,
they did that.
I think most of these authors had some other experience first, because I believe Paizo brought them on to write for the first season because they were kind of in the loop on what was happening with Starfinder at that stage. But in any case, I think it's a pretty cool setup there. So like I mentioned, this did come out during the first year of Pathfinder's existence, so it's set in the timeline at that same point, in the year 317 AG. Because of that, there are a few restrictions on character species. Basically, there's stuff from Alien Archive 3 and onward. Doesn't fit real well with this timeline. And some of the other material in the campaign kind of serves as formative, as jumping off points for books that published later on after that first year of Starfinder. So your game master may want to restrict things a little bit. Not hugely. Anything, in the core book and the first few supplements are absolutely open for use here. But a few of those tools and character bits and bobs that come out later may not work real well with the campaign. So like I did mention, this is a compilation of 12 adventures that came out in that first season. 10 of those were originally designed to be run in roughly 4-hour time slots, and 2 of them are double-length adventures that probably would run about 8 hours. So lower end of the spectrum then, you're talking about 10 times 4 is 40, plus 2 times 8 is another 16, so 56-ish hours of gameplay. And in the notes, in the intro, they actually say maybe this is closer to 70. Because there is a little bit of expansion going on here. Easily could be much more. There's a lot of nice little sidebars and comments as you're going through the adventures saying, hey, this part here we had to rework to make it better fit into a campaign story arc, but there's ties to this adventure, and this adventure that you can grab from the ones that are out there and available for the organized play campaign, and you might want to work those in so you could quickly get into a much longer campaign.
That's really cool.
And there's, a lot of other annotations about that. One thing that is worth pointing out, though, because this was for organized play, they didn't have access to a huge amount of art resources. So some of the art that appears in this book, and it is a great looking full color book, but some of that artwork is repurposed from existing Starfinder products. And a lot of the maps are designed to work with the flip mats that Paizo has also published for Starfinder. So if you've got those flip mats, you're in business. If you don't have those flip mats, there are images in here, but you're going to have to work around that a little bit. In terms of the campaign itself, it uses milestone advancement, so you're not going to have to worry about tracking XP for your characters. I find that makes things a whole lot faster, makes it a lot easier if you want to bring a character in partway through, or even a replacement character. So basically, at the end of every one of these adventures, your character's going to go up a level, except for those 2 double-length ones, and then they'll level partway through and then again at the end. There's also a nice setup in here. There's basically a table that says your characters should get this kind of gear at this point, and hey, they're going to need a spaceship here, so make sure that they have a spaceship of this level that they need for this adventure. It's really straightforward, pretty easy. You can just see those things happening and then flip to the core book and say, okay, you guys get this. It's maybe not as dynamic as giving out money and letting people sit there and pour through the books, but it's a whole lot faster. And if you don't want to do that, easy enough just to give them the money, right?
Yeah.
Let them take their options when they need it. So the campaign itself is set in the Scoured Stars system for the most part. And so we've got, our usual Packed World systems right here on the inner leaf. But then a couple of pages in, you've got the Scoured Stars system map. And so that's basically a system of 3 different stars and their associated planets.
I like that art. Very nice art.
Yeah, it's well put together. And so the Scoured Stars are far away from the Packed Worlds. It's got a strong Frontiers-esque field, right? So nobody really knows what's going on there. And there's been a history where when people have gone there to explore things, it's gone horribly wrong.
Great.
Yeah. And the big campaign jumping off point is that your characters are newly minted members of the Starfinder Society. And they're recruiting real hard right now because about 80% of the Society's members went on this expedition to the Scoured Stars and they got lost or maybe imprisoned. We're not quite sure what from the player's perspective. And so once you're recruited, you need to go out there and help them out. I'm going to dive into a brief overview of the campaign. This gets into spoilery stuff, so if you're planning on playing, maybe now's a good time to tune out.
Leave if you don't like it.
But if you want to GM this, brief overview. In the first mission, the characters join the Starfinder Society. The next one, they undergo some stuff to just kind of improve the amount of influence they have within it. Missions 3, 4, and 5 are really focused on exploring the Scoured Stars and getting to know that area. And then Mission 6, that first double-length adventure, is where they rescue the missing members of the Starfinder Society. 7 and 8 is about reintegrating those members, including the person who was supposed to be the leader of the Starfinder Society, as opposed to the guy who's been running it while he was gone. So there's a little bit of political issues there. Missions 9 through 11 are uncovering basically a war that's going on that's tied into the Scoured Stars and can have some pretty significant impact on the Packed Worlds. And then in Mission 12, that war has escalated to the point of waking a sleeping god.
Okay.
Yeah, so that could be bad. But remember, at this point, your characters are probably 14th-ish level, so maybe they've got a little bit of a standing to be able to affect that kind of battle. After we go through all that, we get into the back matter. There's some info on different factions and places that are involved, some new creatures, new gear, new relics, and the handouts you need to get through the book. This is 256 pages. It's full color. It's a hardcover. It's from Paizo Publishing. It's $55. And we do also have a copy of the limited edition version on the shelf as well. Like I said, this is a lot of this art may be reprinted from other sources, but there's still some pretty cool art and some pretty cool maps in here that you can definitely enjoy while you're running the adventure and showing it off to your players. If you're looking for a new Starfinder campaign, this could be a great pickup to get you going and keep your group busy for at least several months.
Well said, John. It looks like a lot of nostalgic fun right there, so check it out for yourselves.
Till next time, folks, good gaming.